evening to those coming in. I am in the process of trying to find a biro. So I like to tick off my list. Do you know what? I can't find one at all. Okay, we're all good. Just going to wait a few minutes while people do potter in. It's been a long day. It's cold. It's dark outside, but hopefully it'll get a little bit better. Thank you, Petra. Noswatar. That's me probably destroying the Welsh language. I apologise. I'm trying to learn little bits and pieces and stuff. So you can help me by reading why that's awful. That's first class pronunciation there, Beth. That's okay. We always laugh at work. The first time I ever moved up to North Wales, I moved up from the southwest, and the first place I went to go do some work was in Crwslan-y-Crwcog. There you go, another destruction of it. And I remember getting the email with where I was going. I was going, where the devil am I going? I have no idea. I had to ask for directions at one point, and I think I butchered it even further. I think they sent me to the wrong place on purpose. So, there we go. There's an interesting story. So just while people are popping in, as they come in very slowly, just to kind of give you a little bit of insight into what the plan of action is for tonight. I do want to look at gamification and gamifying the classroom using digital tools. And one of the big things I found in the past when I have spoken and I've shown some bits and pieces is that now, especially since the lockdown has kind of ended, a lot more of these freebie softwares and the softwares with some really nice big open bits that you can have for free, they're starting to disappear, or they're starting to minimize the amount that you can get and you can use. This is because they hook you in and then they up the price. So I want to look at gamification and gamifying the classroom using methods that are still free and are still available for you. So I want to start by looking at both tools that I know a lot of settings are using, which is Microsoft and Google. So I still want to use both bits of software. And then I want to go into use of Canva as a tool for engaging and motivating students. Now, Canva is something we've looked at a little bit before with regards to design, and I just want to show through some little bits and pieces that might be useful for you. Again, as normal, we do have the question board. There's a Q&A at the bottom of your screen. So if at any point I do talk about something, you do have a question or a query, please do drop it in that Q&A box. I will try to answer it as I go. If it doesn't fit, what I'll try and do is I'll do like a little Q&A at the end, and I'm more than happy to go through it. Now, what I'm going to be doing tonight is I am going to be sharing my screen. And I've got kind of two ways I'm going to do this. I think I'm going to start off by showing Microsoft Forms for making the quiz. And then I'm going to do it exactly the same again, but I'm going to show it with Google Forms. Really just to show where the similarities are, but also where some of the things are that may be missing. And you may choose, actually, I'm going to prefer to do this with Microsoft Forms over the Google one. And then once I've gone through that, I'm going to go through Canva as a method for looking at reward systems that you can use in your setting. If at any point I do talk about something and you can't see it on my screen because for some reason I decided not to share it, just raise your hand or shout abuse via the Q&A or the chat box, and I'll more than happily, I will try and answer that as quickly as possible. So let's get started. I'm going to start by just, hopefully you can see my screen when it decides to pop up. Now, I have put together a little Padlet board of some of the things I have on my gamification tool chest. And what I will do is at the end of tonight, I will make sure I share this board with you. So as I find stuff that's quite useful, I add to it as I go along, very much like when I did the escape room. And I did have an email today, and someone said, "Oh, is it okay if I use this with my staff in my setting?" 100%. This is the whole purpose, is to share the practice that's available. So if you do want to use any of this, you do want to share the link to it with any staff, please do. I don't, got no real connection to it personally, so I don't mind. So what I want to look at today is I have made a while ago, I made a quiz for some of my trainee teachers. And this was the quiz that they had to do, multiple choice tests looking at safeguarding health and safety in the workplace and bits and pieces. And, the one thing with it is it's not the most exciting thing in the world, even though it's a quiz. So my intention was to see, how can I make it a little bit more exciting for them? How can I motivate them? How can I make it a little bit more interesting? Now, one of the methods that you hear about all the time is this notion of gamification in the classroom. And I've got to make it quite clear from the start what gamification is for those that have, heard it or unsure of what it is. So game-based learning is very different to gamification. So game-based learning is the use of games to teach and embed different styles of learning. So an example would be, the use of Scrabble for literacy, Monopoly for numeracy and arguments and debates. Whereas gamification is the use of game-based mechanics, so points, leaderboards, journeys, discussions, all those bits and pieces that you find in a game, to engage students and engage people. Now, you are gamified on a daily basis and you may not even realize it. So the amount of in your purse, you may have a Tesco club card, or you may have a Boots reward points vouchers. They're all examples of how an experience is being gamified. So gamification is any experience where you are motivated or you're engaged via the mechanics of a game. So what I want to do is I want to take this quiz, I want to make it a little bit more inclusive for students. I want to make it a little bit more interesting. And one of the great tools that we can use for this is, I'm going to start with by looking at Microsoft Forms. Now, Microsoft Forms, on the main screen when you log into Forms, you'll see at the top here, you've got the two options. So we've normally just gone for new form, but what I'm going to go for is new quiz. Now, when you open up a quiz, you'll get this very, very nice basic sort of screen here. And before we start it, we can start to look at some of the settings that are key to this. So at the top right-hand side here, you'll see these three dots. And we're going to hit these three dots and we're going to go to the settings. Now, depending on how you want the quiz to be, you can either have the result automatically. So turning this on means that they get the marks straight after completing it. You got 21 out of 25. You may want to turn that off. Now, what that means is that all the students take the quiz, you have the responses to it, and then you can either email them or you can take them into the classroom. You may want to do an activity where you get them to review the quiz and maybe then review their answers. So whether you have those results automatically is up to you. Now, if you're using Forms through a school account, then you can set it here so only people in that organization can respond. Then it will record their name and you can set it to only one response per person. If you hit it to anyone can respond, it means that I can send this quiz out to anyone who hasn't got a Microsoft account. If they haven't got an @cambria.ac.uk email address. I can also set it for specific people in my organization. So it may go to certain departments. That's really if I'm sharing it via a Teams page that I would set that. So I'm going to set this one for anyone can respond, and I want the results automatically so that you receive them. Now, I've also got the settings here where I can set a start date. So if I put it onto say I put it onto a Moodle page or a Teams page, and I say, okay, guys, I'm going to put the quiz up tonight, but it won't be available till Monday morning. I can set the date and I can set the time. I can also set an end date here. So it will be, the link will be open and valid for a certain period of time. Now, what I found in the past, and one of the things I do like with this, is shuffle questions, because it's quite interesting. I've had students before and they've gone, oh, I put B for number 3 and I put C for number 5 and all this sort of thing. Shuffle the questions means that everyone gets a different mix up, and it makes it a little bit, well, easier for them not to cheat off one another. So they are always talking about it. If you want, you can put a little thank you message at the end and you can customize that. If you don't turn it on, it will just say, yeah, cheers for that, thank you. So if there's a question that's just come in, I'm going to set a piece of homework for my class to create their own multiple choice quiz. Can they do this on their MS Teams account? Nope, they can definitely do it on their MS Teams account. They just log in through Office 365 and go to Forms. So they can make their own quiz using this tool. Response receipts. So once they've, if you tick that one there, it means that once they've created it, it'll get sent to them. And you can get an email notification of once they've submitted their quiz. So if I set it for Thursday night, I can see when the students have submitted all of their quizzes to that point. I'm going to turn this off because I don't want my email inbox inundated. So let's look at building this quiz. So I'm going to call it my safeguarding quiz. There we go. And I'm going to put a little description in there. In this description, it'll be quite interesting. I would say make sure you put the clear rules. There's one of the reasons why for this, and I'll explain it a little bit later, but it'll be things like making sure it's case sensitive, or numbers are written in numerical form, bits and pieces like that. You may also want to explain in there how long the quiz is open for and what time you're setting it. So that's quite a good thing. So let's go our first question. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to start off with, if I look at my document here, there we go, lovely. It's a multiple choice question. So I'm just going to go, it's a multiple choice. And I can just, for some reason, open my emails. I can just copy and paste that question straight from the document. And I'm just going to paste these in here. Now it will give you some options that it wants on there, but I'm just going to put these ones in here. So I'm going to put, there we go, there's number 1. Lovely. I'm going to open my emails again for some reason. I'm going to move that there so I don't do that again. There we go. So if you've already made something, you can just copy and paste it in like that. It's quite nice and easy, especially if you want to test it. If you want to add more options, you just hit plus option at the bottom. There we go. And I can put those in there for me. Now, what I can do with each of these is I can add the number of points. So say that one, I'm going to give that one 5. No, I'm going to give it 1 point because it's quite an easy question, really. You can set it for multiple answers. So if there's more than one correct answer for that, I'm also going to make it required. So they can't skip through, they can't pass. Now, what you can do with this one as well is I can click that as the correct answer, but I can also hit a little question. So if they select that one there, I may put something on that. So, so let's go for this second one here. I may put a message like, have you read the front document? Because, well, really, they should have read the front document because it's quite simple. The answer is on there. So that is my quiz, the first question. We got the question, number of points, that's the correct answer, and that's for them there. Now I want to add in a second question. Now I've got a few options I can put here. I'm going to go for a text question on this one. Now I want to make it a little bit different because I want to get them to watch a video, a YouTube video. So on the question, I'll just do that again. You got this little logo here, insert media. So I'm going to hit insert media, and I can either put a picture in or I can put a video. It's quite good if you've got, say for example, you've got a diagram of something and you want to put an image in. What is this diagram representing? Or will the bulb turn on if I flick at switch A? You may want to put something like that in. But let's go, I want to put a video in. So all I do here is, say for example, I've got this YouTube video. There we go. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to copy the web address from the top here. So I Control C and I just paste in my web link. So what that's done now is it's inputted the YouTube video as part of my quiz question. You know, and say my quiz question is, what is the first rule? I don't know, I'm just making this up. Now this is going to go back to my key point with regards to the rules at the start. Now, if you're getting them to write the answer as a long sentence or as a word or as a specific phrase, I can add the answer here. Now, say for example, the first rule is, you know, say it's designated safeguarding lead. Now they may put DSL, but I can add multiple answers just in case. So I can put here designated safeguarding lead, or for example, they may put it all in like that. With all capital D's and L's and all that sort of business. So I can add, let's try that again. Not having a good day of spelling this, am I? There we go. So I've now put multiple answers in there for them. I'm not going to make that one required, and I'm going to put that as 5 points. Now, as you add these points in here, it will tell you what your total is. So if you are looking for a number that's quite nice as a percentage, you can do that. Now, if you allocate points to a freestyle written answer, as someone's just asked, they've got to hit it exactly to that. So with your question, you know, if you're looking for something which is how does safeguarding make you feel as a practicing teacher, you know, you can't really assign any points to that because there is no, they may write a longer sentence. So with these quizzes, you're looking for direct answers, that there is one set result they're going to give there. So that's where that one would come in. So if you want to have 3 open questions, I would use Microsoft Forms and use a form where you then mark it yourself and you give the grade to it, as opposed to a quiz. So let's add another type of question we can have in here. So say, for example, let's go for, just gonna scroll down a little bit. So when we go to this little box here at the bottom, we can put in another type of question. We can put in a ranking. So let's go to a ranking question. Set the options in the correct order. When you share this quiz, options will appear in a random order. So who should you speak to first about a safeguarding problem? So I can put the option in. Actually, I wouldn't put that. Don't ever speak to, yeah, that's I wouldn't put problem actually. So, there we go. So now that's the correct order. I can move them around if I've not put them in the correct order. But when it comes up as a question, the student will have to put them in the right order. Which I may put your mentor there first. So, again, I'm going to put this one as 4 points because then that gives me a grand total of 10 points, which is quite a nice system. Firewalk off around me, so I do apologize. I've got 2 so far with me. So again, apologize if cats suddenly start appearing. Now, what we can do with any question that we've got, we do have options with it. So I can, if I want to go back in, I can add a little subtitle. If I want to maybe give some information, so read through your placement guide to assist. And that's quite a nice feature of that. So if I do want to give them some little pointers, especially if it's quite a difficult quiz, I can have that. Now, one of the things that you can also do that I find really beneficial with using the Microsoft version of this, if I go to add, say, for example, I want it as a text, it doesn't just have to be a written format word. It can be, let me just get this up here. Once I've written it, I can go down and I can see math. So I can hit math, and what I can do now is I can enter equations, and it puts the equation calculator up there quite nice. So I can put here, say for example, I've got 5x plus 2 equals, and this is where I've got to work out some maths. Let's go for that. Let's go for something nice and simple. Okay. And I go solve x. There we go. So this is one of the quite nice features of it. I can put the correct answer in here. So let's see how many of you can quickly get this one down. Add it in the chat box if you've worked this one out very quickly. No, far too slow. Oh, okay, one of you got it correct. Well done. Thank you, Rianne. Good. 2. So I've put the correct answer in. This is where all the mathematicians come in and ruin me for doing something wrong. And I can add points for that one. They're going to get 3. No, 5 for that one. There we go. So with the Microsoft version of this, I can put mathematic problems in as well, and they can add those. So what we've got here is we've gamified, we've taken a quiz that we've already written previously, we've jazzed it up with a little bit of some videos, bit of interactivity. We can add a suitable theme to it. So we can make it a bit more interesting. There we go. We'll put that theme on it. Oh, I hate that theme. No, don't like that either. There, that's better. And the great thing again with this is that if we go to preview, that's what it looks like on a computer. And this is what it would look like on a mobile phone. So with the Microsoft version, it is designed to be something that is useful between both the mobile phone and your use of a computer or a tablet. Again, the other thing with this, and I've banged on about this quite a lot of time, with the Microsoft version, you've got Immersive Reader. So if they're coming to a question, here's a question here, they can click on that little dictionary and it will play it back to them. So it has that. They can change the background color. So they can either put specific focus on the lines that they want. Let's go for all of it. I can translate it into Welsh or any other languages if I want to have that available. And I can also change the background color based on what their needs are using Immersive Reader. And I can change the font if there's one that's a little bit more beneficial for them. And this is some of the good tools that you get from making the Microsoft quiz, is that you do have that availability to play that. I'm now joined by 3 cats and a dog. So once you've made this quiz, the next thing is to go, well, how can I get it out? How can I get it to the students? Now, if I go to my share button here, there's quite a few great things with using the forms one. So I can either send a copy, a URL, web link, and I can put that in a chat box. So if I just put this in the chat box for you, you can have a click on that and you can have a go at the answers. There you go. It also creates automatic QR codes. So if you want to have it as a QR code, say for example, you want the quiz on a big poster or a display in your classroom, you can just download this QR code. And also it's got an embed code. So if you want to put it in Blackboard or you want to put it in Moodle, there is an embed code that you can embed it as a document within, as opposed to purely a link. Again, the other great thing with using the forms is you have this collaborate button. So say, for example, there's 4 or 5 of your students, or maybe you and a couple of other teachers who are working on making this quiz. If I give them a share to collaborate code, there we go, I can send that to them and they can edit and they can add their own questions at the same time. So if you've got 4 students who want to make a quiz and they want to make the same one quiz together, get them to do a share to collaborate and then they can all work on the same one rather than work on 4 separate ones and then mess around with that. So I have put that QR, the link into the chat box. If you wanted to have a go, and what I'll do is I'll show you the next stage, which is with regards to how does this data work once you've got it. Because once you've made this quiz, the next thing is going, well, how do I get the answers? What do I do with the answers as they come through? So you should be able to click on the web link. Can it be put into Seesaw? Yeah, it can be put in as a web link, or it can be put in as an embed code. So it does have that availability. But then it's the same as well with Google Forms, which I'll show you in a minute, which you may prefer. So I've sent out well, Beth's very kindly, she's put in the chat box the link. I'll just put it in again in case anyone hasn't got it. So now hopefully you'll see how you can use that. So the required button, which is on there. So if I go save to my edit one, I may want to have a question which it's mandatory they complete it. So sometimes I do this with things such as if I'm sending it out to a big group of people and I want a name, I want to make sure there's a name attached to it, I may put required. That means they can't submit the document until they have added some information into that box there. So the require button is only if they must put an answer in without completing it.
Hey, Julia, and I'm sorry to disturb you. Were you sending a link for them to collaborate or to?
Oh, I'm getting them to play the game.
Oh, right, okay, because the collaboration link, it's as a quiz, not as a create. Sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. So as we can see here already, I've got 5 responses for my quiz. So we know that this is worth 15 points, this quiz overall. It tells me my average score from the 5 responses, 9.2. It also shows me where people are answering the questions. So I know that 3 out of 5, this is really useful if, for example, you want to see, is there a question where people are really struggling? Is there a question where people are, are missing a point? So say, for example, I get one and I get a huge amount of people who get it wrong. And I go, oh, okay, this is something I may need to recap with them. So it gives me this data in lifetime as it goes through. As we can see here, one of the difficulties with the written one is, so someone's put here, speak with the DSL, which is absolutely correct. But because they put speak with DSL and not the exact phrasing I wrote in, they don't get the point, which is a shame. So that's why you've got to be quite careful with, where it's exact text, I would do it on something, say, like the name of a policy or the name of legislation in this case, or it may be the name of a country or something like that. Teddy bear is definitely wrong. So sorry for that. Now, as I've got it at the moment, you don't get your score. But once I've got all your scores in, I can do a couple of things here. So I can review the answers and I can go through each respondent and I can look at their marks. And I can then post the scores. So if I post the scores, what I do is I select the people who I want to send their scores to, and then I hit post scores. And what that does is it will send those scores back to that individual, and they'll have their grading that way, as opposed to the automatic one, which I clicked off at the very start. Sean Dixon, you got your score. Can you other students see their scores? No. So this is the one thing, one student submits and they can only see the score, and that's it. So it's quite a nice way of having it where, sometimes you don't want people knowing everything that everybody else got. Okay. Any other questions at all on Microsoft Forms for making quizzes? Because what I'm going to do is after this, I'm going to move on and show exactly the same again, but with the Google variation. Any questions with Microsoft Forms, please drop them in that box. So Caroline, yeah, you're the DSL. Just do that one question. Any issues, speak to me. But this is I do a module which is on student teachers going into their placement, and this safeguarding quiz, it's an open book quiz that I use this for. And you know, I want them to read the documents. I want them to know the documents and not just go off an opinion. Hitting facts that are in paper. Can this be translated into Welsh as for normal MS forms? Yes. So very much again, if we look to how the student has it here, and they go to Immersive Reader, there we go. If they go to the reading preferences, they can then translate either by word or by the entire document, and they have that in Welsh. Or, you know, it doesn't just have to be Welsh. They may want to translate it. You know, you may have students who are Portuguese and they want to translate it into Portuguese for them. So it does have that availability. That's one of those things. Any other questions at all about forms? If not, I will move on to the Google variation of this. Okay. Now, the Google version of Microsoft Forms, very much the same, but there are a few little bits missing, which I just kind of want to talk you through, because I know some places are very big on using the Google software because that's what their school uses. So on Google Forms, again, go to blank when you log in, and you'll get a screen such as this. Now, the first thing you want to do on this is, unlike on Microsoft Forms, which says new quiz, new form, you go to settings and you hit make this a quiz. Now, what this will do is this will assign a point value and ask you to provide an answer. You can have the release marks immediately, and you can also have it where students can see what the correct answer is or the point values. So you can turn that off, the correct answer, if you want them to maybe come back into the classroom and review it at a later stage. I can set it where there's a default point value, which you don't get with the Microsoft one. So rather than have to keep adding points to each question at the end, I can just set it so every question is always going to be worth 1 point. I can manage the responses from here, so I can make sure I collect their email addresses. Students will get a response on this one. So say, for example, they've done the quiz and they've got the answers. If I have send a response, then they'll get a copy of the questions and the answers that they gave again. So they can review and they can recap. And that's quite a nice feature of the Google variation of this. I can also limit it to 1 response. So if they get 1 go at it and that's it, I hit that one there. Now, if I accept that one, they've got to have a Google account to do that, because it asks them to sign in before they can take the quiz. If you're going to be sending this quiz out to students who don't have a Google account, you can't use the 1 response thing, because it's just a web link and they just click in. There's other little tiny features you can have here. So again, I've got the shuffle question order. I can show a progress bar, which tells them how far they've got through it. And I can have a confirmation message. So once they've finished, it tells them they have finished. And I can edit that if I want to add something else, like, you know, great work, well done. Very nice. Okay, so let's go now to our questions at the top. I'm going to get rid of the email address response because I don't want your there you go. So you may not want to share your email address, and that's not a problem. So I'm going to do very much the same again. I'm just going to call this one my safeguarding quiz. So you'll see how, you know, the very much rules of safeguarding. It's very much the same methodology of clicking in the box and adding that question. I'm going to go back to my previous document. There we go, Control-C, Control-V. So I can just copy and paste in my quiz questions for them. So again, you know, you can see how even though the 2 softwares are 2 different companies, they're very similar in terms of the tool wise. Now, the big thing I would say, if there is a major difference for this, is that sometimes the students prefer the look of the Google Forms one. Especially if you're dealing with younger learners, there's less for them to mess around with and play with. And I think it is a little bit easier to use sometimes the Google one. We can add the answer key So if we hit that one there, it's the correct answer. I can also have on here add answer feedback. So for incorrect answers, I may want to put something in. I can also put a web link or a video link. So if I hit a video link, I may put something where if they get the wrong answer, that video will take them to a video that will help them. So let's say I put in this one here. There we go. So if they get the wrong answer, this little thing here goes, watch the video and try again. So I give them that option. If it's a correct answer, I may want to put in personalized feedback, such as, great stuff, well done. I may want to have a little web link there to something for the next question. The choice is yours. So now on this question, I've got my quiz. There's my point. That's the correct answer. Feedback for incorrect answer is that web link. And then I click done. There we go. So let's now add my next question into this. So on the right hand side here, you've got the plus symbol, put my next question. Now, you can do very much like with the last one, I can add a video for the quiz. So all I do is I go to add video. Now I can either type in the URL or I can just search for one. So if I put in safeguarding Wales, I can use this as a YouTube link for that. So I may go, oh yeah, it's a great video, put that one in. There we go. This is also where my spelling gets done. It's 2 R's, isn't it? Thank you. There's my. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put the video up, back up where it is. Safeguarding. And here's my question. Now, what I can do here is if it is a short answer, so what's happening in the video, I put in the answer key and I can add what the correct answers are. So say for again, it's DSL, I can add multiple correct answers for this. Again, making sure that we also accommodate students who put different words in bits and pieces. There we go. I can add answer feedback for it exactly the same way as before. And this is quite a nice feature that you didn't get with the other one. But I can add these extra links to really help them in a way. And then I hit done. There we go. My next question, again, we've got quite a few different features here. We can add a picture of, I said earlier about if you want to have a picture of a circuit board and bits and pieces. Now, one of the things that we did on the last one, we had that math screen, which unfortunately you don't get with the Google one. So if we had the same sum as previously, what we're missing now is, you've got to make sure students are aware of how it may look. With the Microsoft one, you get a little bit more of the intricate mathematics, so the higher order level of mathematics. With the Google one, you've got to keep it a little bit simple, which is a bit of a shame. Maybe it's something they'll add in the future. So maybe that's something for them. But we can put these answers in there. Again, go to answer key. That's the correct answer. And then I hit done. So what I've got now is I've got my quiz. It tells me the total amount of points. I can add a little funky theme if I want to add a funky theme. I can preview it to make sure it looks okay. There we go. Lovely, happy with that. And once we've got that sorted, we can now share this and we can send it. So you do have a few options with this. Again, I can add collaborators to it, very much like with the Microsoft package that I had. So if you've got 4 people that you want to build the same quiz together, they can add collaborators and they can all share it together and they can all work on it. Especially, like I said, if there's a team of teachers, making a quiz takes blimmin' ages. So if you've got a team of you and you want to add your own questions to it, like Christmas quiz and whatnot, you can add collaborators. Now, when I come to send this, I get a few different options. I can either send it via email, I can send it via a link, or I can embed it into my Moodle, Seesaw, Blackboard, all those bits and pieces. If you wanted it as a QR code, there are loads of websites. What I will do is I'll put this website onto the Padlet that I'll share at the end. So if I want it as a QR code, all I've got to do is copy this web link, go to my QR code generator, and I just paste that into this QR code generator, and there is my QR code. So though you don't get it with the Microsoft one, you get the instant QR code, you don't get it with the Google one. It's not really that big an issue because you can just get one from here, and it's, you know, it's made for you quite quickly. So that little advert there, just ignore it. What it'll do is in a second it will download your QR code for you. So what I will do is I will just copy this link. There you go, there's my QR code, it's just made for me. I'll put that on the Padlet for you, and I'll just put this again in the chat box just so you can see the ease of adding to that, and I'll show you how we look at the responses with it. So that's really, you know, the two bits of software. I think with the Microsoft one, the benefit is that you've got that immersive reader and you've got the mathematics tools, which I think are really, really useful, especially if you're looking for maybe secondary or further or higher education. That's going to be something that will be a little bit more beneficial. But there's lots of features in the Google one, which I think will cover all students' needs, depending on your setting and what you're using. I've put that link in. So straight away, hopefully now people will start submitting. There we go. So I can see the responses as they come in. I can see it live on my screen, and only my screen, only the teacher's screen. And very much like with the last one, it tells me the average. It tells me exactly each question and where the points are. And someone's put nothing, someone talking. So people are actually watching this video, brilliant. But I can start to see the patterns in this. And again, it will, if I hit this little spreadsheet logo here, the great thing with the use of the Google one is that it will create for me automatic spreadsheets. So if I really want to go into the data at a later stage, I can do that. And it's quite a nice little feature. So that's two methods, or two tools really, that we can use to gamify something such as, you know, an end of year quiz or a formative assessment, or even an initial assessment. We can use it for that. And what you're doing is you're taking something and you're adding some game-based mechanics to it. Any questions at all? How do you collect in the quiz and grade written answers individually before awarding the final mark? So if you want to have it that way, so what I do is I go to settings, and where it says immediately after each submission, I change that to later after manual review. Now, if I hit that button there before I send the quiz out, it means then that I go through the responses. So I go individual, and I can see each student's response. And at the bottom, you'll have a little mark that will say post. And once I've gone through it, then I can post it to them. And I can mark it that way. It will automatically mark it, but I may want to have like a separate sheet where I can add a little comment to them, especially if there's an open question for them to answer. So you just do that. Any other questions on those two methods before we look at how we actually reward people? No? Fantastic. So one of the big things that comes with doing the quiz, it's fantastic they get that. And I had a question the other day, and someone said to me, they said, oh, can you do something again on using Canva as a tool? Now, for those that haven't used Canva before, this was actually something that was introduced to me by Beth, who sets these all up. And she said, Jules, have you used Canva? This is about 1.5 years ago. And I went, no. And she went, what are you doing with your life? It's amazing. So I got my life on track, and Canva is fantastic for making quick, easy design programs. So one of the big things that you find with doing these quizzes and bits and pieces, you want to make it interesting, you want to make it fun for students. So Canva will make quite cool little designs for you. Certificates, templates, worksheets, badges, and I'll look at some gamification techniques we can use. So one of the things I'm going to do is I'm just going to type in badges, because badges are quite prominent, especially those who use like Classroom Dojo and stuff. You may want to have a badge that you assign to a student for doing a good piece of work. So all I've typed in here is badges, and I want to make a badge for something, and it gives me these cool pre-built ones. Now, if it has this little pro logo, it means you've got to pay for it, but I'm going to show you how to make something a little bit more interesting for free. So I can hit free, and I'm going to take one of these already existing models. That's quite nice. Now, I found one earlier, which I thought was quite cool. They are, that one there. So say, for example, I want to have a badge for, you know, excellent quizzing or something like that. This is going to be my quiz badge. And I want this as something I can digitally send to a student. They've got it, they can put it in their folder or something, or they can keep it on their digital, on their desktop. But I don't want to have a dragon on it. Now with Canva, you can easily edit and delete bits and pieces. And again, just clicking on it is quite nice and simple. So excellent. Oh, I want to have it in capitals because it's really good. Excellent work. Now with this program, it will automatically, you know, so say you got it for maths. It's got these cool little designs. It's something that's quite funky. You can send out to the students, and you can make it a little bit different for them. Yeah, so Rob's just put a great thing on the designs. Once you've got a design you really like, you can save it as a favorite, which I'll kind of go through and add that. Now, if I want to add an image to it, I can go to the elements here on the right-hand side, and I can add bits and pieces. It will also have pictures in here. So if I go winner, there we go. Say I want to add that little logo. There's my lad. I'm going to make him white. There we go. And I've got excellent work award. You know, you can jazz it up. You can make it a little bit interesting for them. And badges is quite a nice way of doing that for them. If, for example, though, you want to take an image that's on your computer, so let's find something that's quite nice. So let's go winner, and I want to get an image to go on this. That looks quite good. Let's find one that says winner to me. Brilliant. That one says winner to me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to save this image to my desktop. Now, there's another tool which I've put on the Gamify tool chest, and it's called Remove BG. Because one thing I will want to do is I want to remove the background from the picture, just so it's a standout of that guy going, yay, winner. So remove BG, all you do is you upload the image, it will remove the background, and then I just hit download. Then on Canva, what I can do is on my uploads, I can just add any of the pictures that I've got saved. So if I want to make it a little bit different, I can add my own pictures in there. So maybe I want to have a picture, if you've got permission to use a picture of the student, you can have a picture of them. There we go, that's my winner's badge. You know, you may want to have Paul Hollywood handshake or something like that. It's a simple way of making something quite easy for them and a little bit fun. And then all you do is you go download. So I can download this as a picture or as a JPEG, or I can make it as a GIF, because you can animate these. And then maybe it's something I want to send to them and they collect them. So you may have 10 of them in your classroom, you know, an attendance award, or 3 quizzes in a row, or 500% in a row, and they get different badges that they can print out and they put in their folder. And that's quite a nice way of gamifying an activity and a classroom. Remove BG, yeah, it's absolutely brilliant. It saves so many. So the pro paid version of this, not at all. What I'm showing you here is purely the free version, because I am a cheapskate and I don't want to pay for it. I'm just using the free version I've got here. That's available on canva.com. Again, that's on my little checklist, which I will share with you. So what else can we do with this? Another great thing, and I said at the start, I said, I bet you any money, more than likely, you will all have some sort of like reward points card system or something like that. So on Canva, let's go to coffee reward. Again, unleash the caps lock, because that's how desperate I am for coffee reward. And I know I've got one of these, like a coffee bar loyalty, you know, where you stamp it for getting coffee. Well, let's think, can we take the same idea and can we bring it into our classroom? We go, yes, we're going to have, you know, Mr. Smith's maths class. I don't know. And I can take this idea, it's already pre-built this cool little thing for me. So top marks. So every time they get a top mark, you get a stamp one of these off. Now, I can play around with these. I can add my own little features, but you may want to keep it as a coffee card for a bit of fun. And you can add your own text to it. And what you've got there is you've got these little coffee cards and they stamp them off as they go through. Now, what you can do with Canva as well, it doesn't have to be something you can print yourself. You can actually get these made as business cards delivered to you. So, you know, if you do want to get them made for you, you know, you can, you can get them a little bit cheaper in bits and pieces, or you can have them sent to, so say, for example, you want to send these to a company that does get them printed for you. You can go to PDF print, high quality, crop marks and bleed. That's if you're sending it to an external company, and then you can just, well, I've got a premium image on there, so you may want to get rid of the premium image and pay and download. If you want to get rid of the premium image, there we go. You just delete it and you can add your own bits and pieces in there. So I may want to get rid of those. There we go. And say, for example, I go elements and I go circle. There we go. I'm going to go for a free circle. There we go. And I can just add as many of those in as I want using copy and paste, Control C and V. So then I don't have to pay for it. Because what you're paying for is you're paying for the images. That's what you're paying for. So I can add those in as a feature. And that's using the Canva tools to make something a little bit interesting for students to use. And it's quite a nice, simple way of gamifying that situation. SoloPress, yeah, someone's put in here, solopress.com is a great place for cheap printing. That's really good. So someone's put in here about an educator's account. So, and then someone has, they sent a photo of their school ID and they got an educator's account. Maybe this is what I need to go off. For animation, which I'm going to show next, Neil's asked about animation for this. The animation is, it's not as good as like stop motion or anything. It's more if you want to make a GIF, which I'm going to show next. So say, for example, you may have like a school social media account, like a Twitter account or something. So I'm going to go to type in Twitter this time. Because what it has is it has these pre-built, well, you may want Twitter or you may want Instagram, but it has pre-built image templates which you can use for, you know, awarding something. So say on your social media account, you want to really award a good class. Let's go again to my free ones because cheapskate. And I'm going to take be a dog owner. Let's play with this. How can we make this as a way of rewarding our students? I'm going to get rid of my expensive dog. I'm going to take a picture that I've uploaded from earlier. So say that's a picture of my student. There we go. That's my student. Because you may want to put that in there. Top winner. You know, worker of the week. I'll keep that. Did you know dogs can help lower blood pressure? I'll keep that on there. Now, what I can do, if I hit animate, I'm going to have it as, I've got lots of little different features to make it stand out, make it look a little bit interesting. I have tumble. I quite like that one. And then I can go publish to Twitter, or I can download this. Now, if I publish this to Twitter, I've got to connect my Twitter account to it. So let's go to my Twitter account, which For anyone who does follow me, I do apologize. It's not the most exciting. I like to put pictures of signs that I find quite interesting on there. So what I can do is, let's go to my Canva. There's my Twitter. I'm going to download this. So I want to praise a student or a particular class, put it on a social media account. So right now it's downloading this as a short video, perfect for Twitter. It makes it stand out. It's a great way of using it for your school's account. And it's nice for the students to see that individual reward for doing something really well. So I've downloaded that video. I go to my Twitter account and I'm going to click in there. And all I'm going to do is, in this case, I'm just going to drag and drop it, or you can upload it. And now, you know, worker of the week. And I can tweet that. It'll work on Facebook. Now, if you do the Facebook, I'll show you that one in a minute. But there you go. I've now got this as a tweet on my thing. It's made for Twitter. But what I am going to do is I'm going to delete it, because otherwise people will think, why am I talking about lowering blood pressure? Now, if you're using other social media accounts, again, so if I just type in Facebook, it will say what type of Facebook. Is it a post? Is it an event? Is it a cover? Is it a story? It's the same as well if your setting uses Instagram. It will give an Instagram story. So it's set for a certain size. And it's a great way that you can kind of show students, and you can kind of go, this is a great reward for them. It could be their aim to do the quizzes and, you know, achieve that long-term goal of making it famous on there. So that's just really a few ways of utilizing some features to gamify your setting, using some of the digital tools, using the free things that are on there. If you've not used Canva before, I really highly recommend it. Even the features such as, you know, worksheets. If you do get the chance, there's some great worksheets on here, which you can go in and you can edit. So if you do want to use these pre-made formats for worksheets and bits and pieces, there are some really nice little things on there that are really nice and easy for you to just change bits and pieces. But I hope that has been useful for you. If you do have any questions, please whack them in the chat box. I'm more than happy to answer them. Like I said, if you do have any further questions as you go, or there's anything in particular you want, I am on, like I said, I am on Twitter. Not sure what my thing is. Julian Ayres 1. There you go. World famous. I think over 30 people care about it. Or please contact Beth, because all of these sessions are only really made from what you guys say. You know, this session was created really from somebody asking a few questions to us. So, you know, that's what we want. We want to make sure we got stuff that's useful for you moving forward. Before you do Foxtrot, what I am going to do is I'm just going to put the Padlet link into the chat box for you. I'm just going to put in the QR code generator as well. So if I just put that link into the Padlet for you. So if you do want to have, there we go. It's a QR code. So what I'll do is I'll just share this link. So if you do want to keep this link, I will try and add to it as I go along. So anything that comes up, I will add to it as I go along. The same with the escape room one, but you now have access. Keep that Padlet code. If you want to share it with other people, please do. I'm not particularly precious about anything like that at all. At the end of the day, I want you guys to be enjoying your work in the classroom. And we'll make sure students enjoy. So thank you again. If you want to ask any questions, please do drop them in the chat box. I'm going to be sat here for the next 3 minutes because I'm inundated with animals. Stop fireworks. Pain in the backside. So yeah, digital badges are great. Can you share the link to the escape room Padlet again? Yes, I will just do that right now. So those that haven't got the escape room Padlet, I called it now. I think I just called it escape room. There we go. That's the escape room. Yeah, the Canva, like I said, there's so much that you can do on it, sort of thing. So there's certificates. I could have been there all day on it, really, but I think it's one of those ones you got to escape, play around with, and see how it goes. So wonderful. Oh yeah, there's timers on there as well. Sorry, I just add stuff to it as it comes up. Mostly when people go, "Have you seen this?" and I go, "No, I've not seen that." So. Thank you so much again, and I hope to see you all very soon for something else. Just message us and say, I've got a problem with this, and we'll go, right, we'll get on with that. There we go. I always like it because the next day I've got some random stuff on my desktop. Why have I got this on there? Thank you, Beth. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. It's been a very long day. I think I mentioned earlier